North Sentinel Island. North Sentinel Island is one of the Andaman Islands, an Indian archipelago in the Bay of Bengal, which also includes South Sentinel Island. It is home to the Sentinelese, an indigenous people in voluntary isolation who have defended, often by force, their protected isolation from the outside world. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands Protection of Aboriginal Tribes Act of 1956 prohibits travel to the island and any approach closer than 5 nautical miles, 9.26 kilometers, in order to prevent the tribal community from getting foreign diseases to which they have no acquired immunity. The area is patrolled by the Indian Navy. Nominally, the island belongs to the South Andaman Administrative District, part of the Indian Union Territory of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. In practice, Indian authorities recognize the islanders' desire to be left alone and restrict their role to remote monitoring. They do not prosecute them for killing people. The island is a protected area of India. In 2018, the government of India excluded 29 islands, including North Sentinel, from the Restricted Area Permit (RAP) regime, in a major effort to boost tourism. In November 2018, the government's Home Ministry stated that the relaxation of the prohibition was intended to allow researchers and anthropologists with pre-approved clearance to visit the Sentinel Islands. The Sentinelese have repeatedly attacked approaching vessels. Such attacks have resulted in the deaths of 2 fishermen in 2006 and an American Christian missionary, John Allen Chow, in 2018. Geography. North Sentinel lies 36 kilometers, 22 miles, west of the town of Wandoor in South Andaman Island, 50 kilometers, 31 miles west of Port Blair, and 59.6 kilometers, 37.0 miles, north of its counterpart, South Sentinel Island. It has an area of about 59.67 square kilometers, 23.04 square miles, and a roughly square outline. North Sentinel is surrounded by coral reefs and lacks natural harbors. The entire island, other than the shore, is forested. There is a narrow, white sand beach encircling the island, behind which the ground rises 20 meters, 66 feet, and then gradually to between 46 and 122 meters, 151 and 400 feet, near the center. Reefs extend around the island to between 0.9 and 1.5 kilometers, 0.5 to 0.8 nautical miles from the shore. A forested islet, Constance Island, also Constance Islet, is located about 600 meters, 2,000 feet, off the southeast coastline, at the edge of the reef. The 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake tilted the tectonic plate under the island, lifting it by 1 to 2 meters, 3 to 7 feet. Large tracts of the surrounding coral reefs were exposed and became permanently dry land or shallow lagoons, extending all the island's boundaries by as much as 1 kilometer, 3,300 feet, on the west and south sides, and uniting Constance Islet with the main island. Flora and fauna. The island is largely covered in tropical and subtropical moist broadleaf forest. Due to the lack of surveys, the exact composition of the terrestrial flora and fauna remain unknown. In his 1880 expedition to the island, Maurice Vidal Portman reported an open, park-like jungle with numerous groves of bulletwood trees, as well as huge, buttressed specimens of Malabar silk cotton tree. Indian boar are apparently found on the island and a major food source for the Sentinelese, with reports by Portman referring to a huge leap of pig skulls near a Sentinelese village. The IUCN Red List lists North Sentinel as being an important habitat for coconut crabs, which have been otherwise extirpated from most of the other Andaman Islands except from South Sentinel and Little Andaman. North Sentinel Island, along with South Sentinel, is also considered a globally important bird area, IBA, by BirdLife International, as despite the lack of surveys, the pristine habitat likely supports a diversity of bird life. The marine life surrounding the island have also not been well surveyed. A large coral reef is known to circle the island, and mangroves are also known to fringe its banks. A circa 1999 report from divers near the island indicate that the reefs around the island were bleached in the 1998 El Niño, but had since seen new growth of coral. Sharks have allegedly also been seen in the waters off the island. Sea turtles likely also occur near the island, as Portman referred to them also being a major food source for the Sentinelese, and one was cited on a 1999 survey of the surrounding waters. Dolphins were also cited on the same survey. History. The Onge. one of the other indigenous peoples of the Andamans, were aware of North Sentinel Island's existence. Their traditional name for the island is Chia de Quoquie. They also have strong cultural similarities with what little has been remotely observed amongst the Sentinelese. However, Onges, brought to North Sentinel Island by the British during the 19th century, could not understand the Sentinelese language, so a significant period of separation is likely. British visits. British surveyor John Ritchie observed a multitude of lights from an East India Company hydrographic survey vessel, the Diligent, as it passed by the island in 1771. Humphrey, an administrator, traveled to the island in March 1867. Towards the end of the same year's summer monsoon season, Nineveh, an Indian merchant ship, was wrecked on a reef near the island. The 106 surviving passengers and crewmen landed on the beach in the ship's boat and fended off attacks by the Sentinelese. They were eventually found by a Royal Navy rescue party. Portman's expeditions. An expedition led by Maurice Vital Portman, a government administrator who hoped to research the natives and their customs, landed on North Sentinel Island in January 1880. The group found a network of pathways and several small abandoned villages. After several days, 6 Sentinelese, an elderly couple and 4 children, were kidnapped and taken to Port Blair. The colonial officer in charge of the operation wrote that the entire group sickened rapidly, and the old man and his wife died, so the 4 children were sent back to their home with quantities of presents. A second landing was made by Portman on 27 August 1883, after the eruption of Krakatoa was mistaken for gunfire and interpreted as the distress signal of a ship. A search party landed on the island and left gifts before returning to Port Blair. Portman visited the island several more times between January 1885 and January 1887. After Indian independence, Indian exploratory parties, under orders to establish friendly relations with the Sentinelese, made brief landings on the island every few years, beginning in 1967. In 1975, Leopold III of Belgium, on a tour of the Andamans, was taken by local dignitaries for an overnight cruise to the waters off North Sentinel Island. The cargo ship MV Rusley ran aground on coastal reefs in mid-1977, and the MV Primrose did so in August 1981. The Sentinelese are known to have scavenged both wrecks for iron. Settlers from Port Blair also visited the sites to recover the cargo. In 1991, salvage operators were authorized to dismantle the ships. After the Primrose grounded on the North Sentinel Island reef on 2 August 1981, crewmen several days later noticed that some men carrying spears and arrows were building boats on the beach. The captain of Primrose radioed for an urgent drop of firearms so his crew could defend themselves. They did not receive any because a large storm stopped other ships from reaching them, but the heavy seas also prevented the islanders from approaching the ship. A week later, the crewmen were rescued by a helicopter under contract to the Indian Oil and Natural Gas Corporation, ONGC. The first peaceful contact with the Sentinelese was made by Triloknath Pandit, a director of the Anthropological Survey of India, and his colleagues on 4 January 1991. Although Pandit and his colleagues were able to make repeated friendly contact, dropping coconuts and other gifts to the Sentinelese, no progress was made in understanding the Sentinelese language, and the Sentinelese repeatedly warned them off if they stayed too long. Indian visits to the island ceased in 1997. The Sentinelese survived the 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake and its aftereffects, including the tsunami and the uplifting of the island. 3 days after the earthquake, an Indian government helicopter observed several islanders, who shot arrows and threw spears and stones at the helicopter. Although the tsunami disturbed the tribal fishing grounds, the Sentinelese appear to have adapted. In January 2006, Sundar Raj and Pandit Tiwari, 2 Indian fishermen, were fishing illegally in prohibited waters and were killed by the Sentinelese when their boat drifted too close to the island. There were no prosecutions. In November 2018, John Allen Chow, a 26-year-old American missionary trained and sent by Missouri-based All Nations, was killed during an illegal trip to the restricted island, planning to preach Christianity to the Sentinelese. 7 individuals were taken into custody by Indian police on suspicion of abetting Chow's illegal access to the island. Entering a radius of 5 nautical miles, 9.3 kilometers, around the island is illegal under Indian law. Fishermen told police that they had seen the tribespeople dragging Chow's body around, but the authorities had not been able to independently verify his death as of 25 November 2018. The case is being treated as a murder, but there has been no suggestion that the tribesmen would be charged. Demographics. North Sentinel Island is inhabited by indigenous people in voluntary isolation, the Sentinelese, who have been defending their isolation by force. Their population was estimated to be between 50 and 400 people in a 2012 report. India's 2011 census indicates 15 residents in 10 households, but that too was merely an estimate, described as a wild guess by the Times of India. Like Jarwas has been destroyed by outsiders, the population would face the potential threats of infectious diseases to which they have no immunity, as well as violence from intruders. The Indian government has declared the entire island and its surrounding waters extending 5 nautical miles, 9.3 kilometers, 5.8 miles, from the island to be an exclusion zone to protect people from getting disturbed. Political status. The Andaman and Nicobar Protection of Aboriginal Tribes Regulation, 1956, provides protection to the Sentinelese and other native tribes in the region. The Andaman and Nicobar administration stated in 2005 that they have no intention to interfere with the lifestyle or habitat of the Sentinelese and are not interested in pursuing any further contact with them or governing the island. Although North Sentinel Island is not legally an autonomous administrative division of India, scholars have referred to it and its people as effectively autonomous or independent.